Well, not everyone is celebrating the matric results. Around 20% of pupils did not pass. And some who did are worrying about where they're going to find the money to study even further. Let's just find out how to deal with feelings of fear and anxiety. And I'm joined by Ari Katz, the CEO of Boston City Campus and Business College. Ari, thank you so much for your time and welcome.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, let's talk about the President, perhaps, his utterances at the 108th celebrations. He did congratulate the Northern Cape for doing well, said he would like to see them back at number one, but he'll give them more time. But there seems to be, a sense of optimism from the President saying that they need to create jobs for young people, especially those who've just passed matric.
Correct. So first of all, congratulations to the matriculants who did pass. I mean, we know that we have an overall 81% pass rate, which is actually commendable and fantastic. But I think what is important is for the matriculants to understand that that piece of paper, that matric certificate, is actually what I would call a multi-level passport. Because obviously they have to understand the contents of that piece of paper. Does it entitle them to enter into a higher certificate, diploma or degree? And that will obviously depend on the endorsement that they have, which is stated on the matric certificate. And that will lend itself into further education, which hopefully ultimately will lend itself into further job opportunities.
Yeah. And then let's also talk about then, the DG of the Department of Basic Education, Mtanzi Wamweli, mentioned that in as much as the country is celebrating, unfortunately, statistics show that, there are 16 other schools with a 0% pass rate. This increased from 12 last year to 16 this year. Ari, this is a call for concern.
Absolutely. I think there are a number of concerns. The first concern, even before we get to the 0% pass rate, is to look at the number of students who are actually passing with mathematics as one of their subjects. Because what we have seen is the number of students taking mathematics as opposed to maths literacy has been declining. And if we want to compete in the new world out there, the digital world out there, it is important for students to actually be taking mathematics to be able to enter and compete on an international scale.
Right.
If we address the problem of the schools with 0% pass rate, I think that problem is much more fundamental in that it goes back to early childhood development and primary school all the way through. I don't think one can look at that as a barometer for matric, because I think by that stage it's actually probably far too late.
Right.
We should be looking at those schools and the infrastructure that they have from primary school all the way through.
And some of those learners right now who perhaps are disappointed that they didn't, find those favorable, marks while other learners are celebrating. I can only imagine what feelings are going through their mind right now. Is there an alternative? What's the game plan right now moving forward?
The truth is there are lots of opportunities. We live in the digital age and there are lots of opportunities, both for those matriculants who were successful as well as those who weren't successful. I mean, one shouldn't forget that there are TVET colleges out there. There are trades that are available also for those students. Matric doesn't only mean going to college and university. Admittedly, college and university provide a range of opportunities which in themselves have a lot of pathways. So for example, if you wanted to do a bachelor's degree but you never got a bachelor's pass rate and you got access to a higher certificate, well, then you could do a higher certificate and the following year use that higher certificate to actually enter into a bachelor's degree. So it's not the end game necessarily in itself. And what I think is critical for matriculants is to go out there and get good career advice.
Right. Because
there's so many opportunities today and so many careers that are new and coming into the market as we speak. I mean, if you think about the change that are happening in the world at such a rapid pace. I mean, 10 years ago, things like Uber, Netflix, etc. didn't even exist. So the world is changing at such a rapid pace. It's important that matriculants go out there and get good career advice as to what are all the opportunities. And there are lots of tools out there available for matriculants to understand and to do what I call career exploration. Find out what are the subjects that I need, what does the career entail, etc. And what's been proven is that the higher the degree of career exploration, the more you know about the career that you're about to embark on, the higher the chances are that you'll be successful at college, at university, whatever it may be.
And whose responsibility is it for learners then to have exposure to some of those, career opportunities or even exposure? Because we know that in some provinces or in some previously disadvantaged communities, they cannot afford to come to the popular universities in Johannesburg and perhaps have career expo days. Then who then assists the learner in making sure that they are empowered?
Right. I think almost all the colleges, and certainly our organisation, has free career guidance tools where students can come in, they can join any one of the 45 Bostons around the country, they can do career exploration. It's free. There's no obligation, but it's critical that they find out about the career opportunities available to them.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, particularly learners who come from township schools and from disadvantaged backgrounds haven't necessarily been exposed to the plethora of careers that are out there. And it's critical that they actually get career advice and do career exploration, and don't just accept the first career that's offered to them because it's an opportunity probably for a bursary or maybe an internship or maybe a learnership or whatever it may be. Do your homework, do the career exploration. It's critical to your long-term success.
Yeah, and I support that. Do your homework, and I suppose for the class of 2020.
And follow your passion.
Yeah, follow your passion, which is important.
Absolutely.
And research on your passion, I suppose, for the class of 2020 needs to start now, not when they've completed their finals. But thank you, Ari, for this time.
Great.